was afraid to leave you on your own. I said I'd catch you if you fall.
Next morning, the alarm was ringing for 2 minutes. Wine took out her hand from the blanket and stopped the alarm. She opened her eyes and saw the time. Her eyes opened wide. It's 7:30 already and she's late for the college. She quickly got up and went to freshen up. When she came out of her room quickly, she went to the kitchen and what she saw next surprised her. Check it off. Last night, I didn't sleep peacefully. Whenever I tried to close my eyes, every time her face appears in front of my eyes, her smiling eyes, her non-stop mouth that only kept me alive. I wanted to take care of her and take her responsibility, but I can't see her sad like this. She was putting so much effort, but I wasn't able to recognize her. I just wanted to see her happy again. That's why I wake up early to make her breakfast. It's late and she didn't even wake up. I was thinking about her when I heard the door unlocked. There she was standing already. I smiled at her a little. Wine was surprised to see her husband was in the kitchen making breakfast. She tried her best to ignore him and went past him. JK, you are up, come have breakfast. While he was putting breakfast in the plates, she didn't reply to him and left the home. Jungkook was looking at her back, who just went from there without looking at him like he was non-existent to her. He looked at the breakfast he had made for her. He sighed and got up from his chair. He grabbed his car keys and left from the home. In college, Wine Puff, she was sitting in the cafeteria alone because her friend was absent today and recalling what happened in the morning. When she left without giving him a reply, she was hurt. She wanted to show him how it felt when you are being neglected. And the whole day, she didn't even show her face to him. She didn't go to his office in the recess. She was enjoying her moment alone when someone put hand on her shoulder and stand in front of her. Jae-ho, hey beautiful, what are you doing alone here? Do you need my company? School's playboy Wan looked at him with annoyed face. He's always behind Wan. Wan, I have my own company. Don't need yours to ruin mine. She smirked and grabbed her bag and left from there. She left for her lecture. It's Jungkook lecture and she knows she has to face him no matter what. I was sitting when Jae-ho came and sat beside me with his smile. I ignored him and Jungkook entered the class. His eyes directly landed on mine. I looked somewhere else. No one wanted to look at him. JKPOV. The whole day I didn't see her. I know she was ignoring me on purpose. I ordered food for her and was waiting in my office for her to come, even though I knew she wouldn't come today. I wanted to give her time and space for some time, but I can't help myself. I am addicted to her smell, her voice, her eyes that were full of love. He sighed, thinking everything. The bell rang and he went to his class. Like every time he entered the class and looked at Wine, but this time she looked somewhere else. Usually she would smile at him or blink her eyes multiple times, but she didn't do this. This time she looked somewhere else. Jungkook noticed that the whole lecture he kept looking at her time to time, but not even once Wine looked back at him. Wine felt his sharp eyes on her, but she forced herself not to look back at him. The whole lecture, Jae-ho kept calling Wine and Jungkook was getting frustrated over Jae-ho getting so close to her. The bell rang, everyone started to leave. JK, Miss Wine, he called her. She didn't want to listen to him, but she's in the college. She looked at him. JK, in my office, he said and left from there. Wine huffed frustratingly. She stomped her foot and went to his office. She knocked the door. JK, come in. He was right, waiting for Wine. Wine got inside and closed the door. She was standing there quietly and looking down at the floor. Jungkook got up from his chair and went towards him. He rolled her face softly and said, I am sorry. I can't see you like this. Let me explain, JK said softly, looking at her face. Wine rolled her eyes at him. Wine, explain. She only said this. JK sighed. Flashback. When Wine left his office, Anna came to Jungkook's office without knocking. JK looked at her angrily. JK, don't you have manners not to come inside without knocking? He said sternly. Anna, excuse me, sir. I wanted to tell you something important. She was in a hurry. JK, I have a meeting. You can wait for that. Jungkook grabbed his files and started to leave. Anna held his hand. JK looked at her with question. Anna, I know you are married, but I really love you. Just leave her. I will keep you happy. JK, shut up. I am your professor. Anna, Wine is also a student. But why did you marry her? JK, that's my personal life. I don't need anyone's interference. And leave my hand. I'm telling you the last time. Anna, why? Why she is important to you? You don't even love her. Anna started shouting. Jungkook took his hand from her grip angrily. JK, she's my wife. I don't need to give you any clarification that I love her or not. She's the most important part of my life, and don't come to me again or else you'll be fired. He said and started to leave while she quickly backhugged him. Flashback ends here. JK, that was the time you saw us. I tried to find you, but you already went home. Wine, are you done? Because I am done hearing. JK sighed. JK, look, Wine. He tried to explain her again, but she cuts in between. Wine, I'm staying over at my friend's home tonight. JK, you're not, he said, gritting his teeth. Wine, I'm not asking you to. I'm telling you, don't need to act like my husband. She said and went from there, surprising him. Jungkook growled frustratingly. He sat back in his chair, trying to concentrate on his work. But every time her face came in front of her eyes, he rested his head back on the chair and closed his eyes again. After some time, he went back home. When he entered, he met quietness. Home was empty. Never in his life he felt lonely like this. He freshened up and went to the kitchen. He saw the dinner maid made for him. Every day Wine made breakfast for him. She always wanted to make food for him and wait for him to tell her how the food was. Now it feels like he went back to his old life where he was alone. This makes him realize how much Wine is an important factor in his life. He took one bite of dinner and sighed. He lost his appetite and went to his room again. He couldn't sleep in his room. After a lot of struggling, he got up and went to Wine's room. When he entered in her room, he met her fragrance. Her fragrance calms his soul. He laid on her bed and slept there. For the first time, he murmured in his sleep, Wine, come back, please. Wine Pop. Yesterday night, I did fun with my friends. We played games, but in the corner of my heart, I was thinking if he missed me or not. He didn't even call me. Deep down in my heart, I wanted him to miss me. I came college today. It's JK lecture and I didn't want to face Jungkook, but I have to. I sighed and went to the classroom. Jungkook was already in the class when I entered. I tried not to look at him, but my eyes betrayed. He was already looking at me. I broke the contact and sat on my chair. The whole lecture, our eyes were connecting time to time and I was breaking the contact and the lecture was end. I tried to go as soon as possible. JK, Miss Wine. She looked at him in my office. Wine sighed and went behind him. She entered in his office without knocking, expecting him to be on his chair. But when she entered, he held her hand and pinned her against to the door, unlocking it. Wayne was shocked to see him this close to her. "JK, are you done ignoring me?" Wayne kept quiet. "JK, I already explained you, so stop ignoring me now." He inhaled her scent in her neck. He missed her the most. This was the time he realized who she is, whom she belongs to. He was mad without her. His life was incomplete without her. She completed him when she's so close to him. He looked at her, and with the need of her in his, he started to get closer to her more and more. He was inches apart from her lips. His breath was on her. He looked at her, who was looking at him with his intense eyes. Before he moved further, closer to kiss her, she moved her face to the side. "Wayne, why are you doing this?" "JK, what?" he said huskily. "Wayne, everything. It was you who wanted space. It was you who didn't want to eat my things and throw them into bin. You made me feel like non-existence. Then why are you getting angry over me ignoring you?" She said angrily, showing him mirror. "I don't want to be with you." "JK, when did I throw your food?" Wayne laughed mockingly. "Wayne, yeah, you're not wrong. It's me who is wrong. I shouldn't have loved you." JK thinks, what is she talking about? Then he remembered the cupcakes she made for him. He takes a long breath. She misunderstood him. "Wayne, I didn't throw them intentionally. When you told me you made them for me, I was happy, really happy, believe me. I didn't have time at home at that day." "I know, I'm sorry. That was my mistake. I was in a hurry, but I didn't want to hurt you. I apologize," he said with so much care in his voice. "Don't want to let her go again." Wayne angrily takes out her hand from his grip and pushed him. "Wayne, stay away from me, June. I hate you. You don't deserve me." She tried to turn around and go, but he didn't. He let her go. He again caught her wrist to take a Wayne. "Sorry, I know I don't deserve you, but I can't lose you. Look, I will be on my knees for you if you want to, for my mistake." "Wayne, I hate you. Leave my hand." "Take a look, I love you," he said with his abnormal breath, not wanting to leave her. "You were too young for me. I tried not to get so close to you, but you became my part, and I don't know when." "I'm nothing without you. Look, I'm already apologizing. You at least give me a chance." Wayne jerked his hand and went from there angrily. Jungkook banged his hand on the desk. "Damn it." Wayne puffed. When she went outside of his office, her heart was beating abnormally. That was the first time he said he loves her. She kept her hand on her racing heart. She bit her lower lip and remembered what happened inside. Why is he acting like this? She spent her whole day roaming and thinking. She spends her whole day roaming and thinking about today's incident outside. In the evening, she went home. When she entered the home, she smelled delicious food. She went to the kitchen and saw her husband cooking in the kitchen. Jungkook looked at her and said, "JK, you came home late. Come, have some food. You must be hungry." He was arranging the plates when Yuan, standing there fighting with herself to ignore him or eat the food. She was really hungry, but she decided to pick the first one. Didn't answer him and went in her room without looking back at him. JK sighed and looked at her back, knowing she is still upset. He looked at the food he made for her especially. He also lost his appetite and put the food in the fridge and went to his room. At midnight, Wine came outside. She was hungry and now she gave up. She looked in the fridge and the bowl was full. It means he also didn't eat anything. She looked towards his room. She felt bad, but she doesn't want to care about him. She ate the food and went back to her room. Whole night she kept thinking about him, that he must be hungry. Every day in the past she made sure that he was having his meals regularly. Whole day he worked hard. He must be hungry. She sighed and went back in her. The next morning, Wine get up early to make breakfast, but when she came outside, he was already standing in the kitchen. Wine went to him. JK, you are up? Go get freshen up. I'll make breakfast. Wine looked at him. Wine, I can't make myself a breakfast. You don't have to. JK, it's okay. You always make breakfast. Let me do it. Go wear your uniform. Wine didn't say anything and went back in her room without saying anything. She wanted to refuse him but couldn't say anything. After 20 minutes, she came back and he was arranging the plates. Wine didn't want to create any drama and sat on the chair. She took one bite and she couldn't deny that breakfast was too good. JK, I learned that when I was abroad. Wine looked at him while eating. JK, I mean the food. I lived alone there. That's why it was the first time he was telling her his past. Wine, it's good, she said to him. JK smiled. JK, but yours is my favorite. Wine, I'm done. I'm leaving for college. JK, I'll drop you today. Wine, no need. I can go on my own. She grabbed her bag and went from there without letting him answer. JK looked at her bag and sighed. JK, still upset with me, but I'll win you back, I promise, he murmurs. In the college, Wine tried not to see Jungkook. The whole lecture of Jungkook, Wine didn't look at him. That makes Jungkook more frustrated. Jae was sitting beside him and kept calling her, making Jungkook more frustrated. Jae, hey Wine, look what I made, he said in his lower voice. Wine looked at him annoyingly, and there Jungkook boiled more. Jungkook shouted. Everyone flinched, including Wine. JK, out. Jehu, out for my class right now. After the lecture, he went in his office and waited for Wine there. Wine Pop, what happened to him? She thanks and went out from the class. She was putting her things in the locker when someone stands beside her. Jehu, I think you need company. Wine, I told you already, no need to ruin my company. Wine smirked. Jehu was standing close to her, but there was some space between them. Jehu, I think we made a good couple. Wine looks over his shoulder. There was Jungkook standing, looking at her with his intense eyes. When JK was waiting for her in his office, he went outside to find her, but what he saw next made him angrier. He closed his fist hardly, like he could punch him anytime. Wine smirked and put her hand on his shoulder to make him more jealous. She smiled at Jehu. Wine, what made you think like that, Jehu? Everyone in the college sees this. He said, getting more close to her. Before Wine could reply, Jungkook stomped towards her. He held her arm and pushed Jehu. He fell on the floor. He started dragging her to his office. Everyone was looking at them. Wine smiled at him because her plan was to make him jealous. She entered in his office and closed his door. He locked his door and pinned her to the wall, who was looking at him with her soft eyes. Without giving her any time, he held her knee and brushed his to her. He started devouring her like he was taking his anger on her. Wine tightly closed her eyes. After a long minute, he stopped and looked at her, who was standing tightly closing her eyes. Her hands were in his chest, holding him tightly. Take her mine. His breath brushed his lips while saying this with his husky voice. Wine slowly opened her eyes and looked at him. JK, I really love you. I am nothing without you. You completed me. Please give me a chance. Let me prove it to you. You will not regret it. I promise, he said with his most soft voice. Yuan blushed hard and looked down and smiled. She looked at up again in his eyes and kissed him again, showing him she loves him too.